On my screen you can see the beginnings of a design I started, I think, in December, or maybe it was November, and I haven't had a lot of time to work on it. I chose this design because it needed a lot of colour blending, and I love colour blending. It's a topic that's very close to my heart, mainly because I keep hearing foolish comments about you can't blend colours in digitizing. I used to blend colours in free motion embroidery, so if I could do it in that, why couldn't I do it in digitizing? And my challenge for you this time is I want you to do a scene, and I want you to use colour washes. That's what I call this. These are all loose density fills. I think they're all 1.3. Let me just check. Object details. 1.4. Why did I choose 1.4? Normally I go 1.3. Maybe I wanted it to look loose even when it was finished. Anyway, let's leave this and go to my other screen. There we go. Here you'll see I've got a block of red, a block of yellow, a block of blue. And I've played with those three colours. Ignore these for a moment. And I've made a 30mm wide by 15mm deep rectangle of red. I'll just move this out this way so as you can see. And I'll move this one out this way. Each one of these has a density of 1.3. The full length one sits at the bottom. The next one takes up 2/3 of that space, also with a 1.3, which makes the density in this area 0.86. Then on the top I put the final layer, 1.3. Now look at the difference in the strength of the colours. Definite red, not so definite, indefinite. I did the same with the yellow, the same with the blue. Then I started my blocks for colour mixing. Artist colour wheel is made up of 3 primary colours, yellow, red and blue. What they don't tell you is what the base colour is. Now they do say can't be mixed or formed by any combination of other colours. Well, we now know they can be. There's no one single true colour, not even black. Okay, so I've used what in the art world is considered to be the 3 basic colours of the colour wheel, which is then used to create the secondary colours, the oranges, the purples and the greens, which in turn I used with these to create the 3rd set of colours, tertiary. Now, in painting it works. If when you were at school you had powder paints and you mixed yellow, red and blue together, you ended up with brown. Not so with threads. Doesn't work that way. But we can still blend colours. Now here I've got a 30mm square made up using my red, and the red I used is the Madeira Polyneon 1878 and it's called K9. I hate the names they give these colours. But of course we have hundreds of colours. We've got a red here, we've got a red here, and I know there's more reds in the Madeira Polyneons because I've got the whole set. The colours you get will vary depending on which red you pick from your stash. But I'm not suggesting you do all this. Now, that was my block of red. And on top of it I put a block of yellow. And this was the effect. Let's just budge that over a bit. That's it. This was the effect of the yellow over the red. And you can see we're getting a bit of orange in the middle. Not as strong, say, as this orange up here, which is pumpkin, but never mind. And that's also pumpkin. So this program's not very good at matching up colours. Here I put the yellow underneath, and I haven't ungrouped them. Not very clever, Maggie. Ungroup. Okay, yellow is underneath. Red is on top. If I put that back, we get a different look here. Unless I stitch this out, I wouldn't know which of these squares was going to give me the best orange. Now we come down here. Again, I've got red. Same sequence. Complete square of 1.3. 2/3 of the square at 1.3 to give me 0.86 density in this area. And then the third layer of 1.3 to give me a density of 0.43. I'm going to pop that back inside, and it's under the blue, but I don't really see much of a purple. That one's a wee bit low, let's just shunt him up a bit. Okay. Here it's the other way around. It's the red is on top of the blue. And I do get a slightly more purple effect here, which is 2 layers of blue and a top layer of red. Then I did the blue and the yellow. Yellow on top, and in this one, yellow is underneath. And in neither of them do I get a green. And I'll come back to these in a moment. I want to go to the next one, window. Okay, in this one, it's a different red. It's a different yellow. It's a different blue. And we get a different effect. So I'm going to go back to the previous window. Red, yellow, blue. And I'm going to select these. Okay. Copy. Paste. Oh, look, pretty tartan. Now we've got some colours coming. But I don't want the pretty tartan there. I want to move it over. And I want to hide the hoop. Right, now I want to go back to the other screen again. I'm going to pick these two up. Copy. Back to the other window. Paste. And we're getting a very nice tartan effect there. But again, I don't want the tartan effect. I'm going to put those down here. Okay. Now, I want you to look at the difference between this one, which used this red, K9, and this one, which used this red, which they call cherry blossom, and then the yellow, which in this case I think I used this yellow, which was canary, and in this one it was 1955, which I believe is that one. Yes. Now it looks orange up here, When it stitches out, it's not orange. It's a yellow gold. Because I want you to see the difference your base colours can make. And look at the difference in effect that we get with the yellow on top and the yellow underneath. It's not really the right yellow for the red. Here, if we look at this one, the red is on top in this one, it's on top in this one. Here I don't really get a purple effect. Here I do. And that's because the blue I chose, which was this one, blue suede, and the base colour of the red actually work together. So I'm getting a purpley effect there. And over here in this one, and up here in this one, I've actually changed the angles of one of the layers. I think it's this one, Object Details, Parallel Fill, yeah, 60 degrees. So when people say to you they've all got to be in the same direction, no they don't. Sometimes it's useful to cross-hatch colours so as they come through. I mean, if I had to stitch in the same angle the whole time when I was doing free motion embroidery, I'd have given it up. I used to go every which way just to get the colour mixes I wanted. I did the same in this one. I changed a fill angle. And this one, I can't remember what it was that I set, but it's not giving it to me. There it is. It's still not giving it to me. 70 degrees. Thank you. Okay, now, I'm not getting a much better green in this one than I got in this one. Definitely not a green colour. Even when I've switched the angles. And in this one, in theory, if you mix red, yellow, and blue together, you get brown. No, you don't. You get red, blue, and yellow, with maybe a hint of green and maybe a hint of purple. So let's go back to the other screen, because this one I was going to digitize, and I started to set up my colour grid. And you can see it here. It's very pretty. And I got so far and I was thinking, why am I doing a huge colour grid? Copy. Why not just do colour bricks? So that's what I did. And I've used colour bricks before. Put them on top. Right. Actually, that's not going to work, putting them on top, because the colours from underneath are shining through. So let me just move this one over. Thank you. Fooshbar. Undo. Hide image. Let's put you over here. You over here. You over here, you over here. And the other thing with colour blocks is you've got more room to see your colours. Because we're restricted by our hoops, we can only go up to a certain size. My colour grid was determined by, or the number of colours used rather, was determined by what I saw in this when I squinted. I don't really need to squint because my eyesight's so bad. But I went for what I thought were the main underlying colours. And that was a dark grey, a sort of sage green. Where is it? Oh no, medium grey, beg your pardon. A mid-brown. There it is. A dark green. Aqua. Sage green. Yellow ochre. Pale blue. And white. We have a selection of neutral colours, and neutral colours are not beige, this mucky colour that they call umber, magnolia, etc., as the decorators would tell you. They are white, black and grey. And grey is just about one of the most useful colours in your colour palette. It can warm a colour up, it can cool it down, depending on what shade of grey you use. These I put together because I wanted to know which would give me the best effect for this mountain. Let's tell it group. And looking at this, I would say the centre panel does it, which is the grey, the yellow ochre and the pale blue, to give me this colour. Then I wanted to know about the tree, these big trees. And to me, it's this one. Let me group that one. I know it doesn't look as deep as it does here. But don't forget, when it's stitched, it's going to look totally different. And that was hang on. Oh, it's picked it up as black and it isn't black. Oh, it's dark blue. Dark blue. Then the dark green. Where is you? No, I didn't choose that colour at all. This is the programme playing me up again. I actually chose that one. And I chose a turquoise. Group. Now, these I would stitch out to see which actually gives me the best effect for that. This one I wouldn't bother stitching out because my eyeballs tell me that's just about right for that. And for these, I would substitute probably in this one a dark brown. So as I got have I put it in yet? No, I hadn't put it in yet. I was going to say, so as I got this dark green with this brown. But I haven't actually digitized it in yet. And because I don't want to have more grids on bits of fabric floating around on the floor, in the cupboards, everywhere, that's why I decided to do these. Because in the fields, here, I would have done, where's the aqua gone? That's him. Forget the fact that there's figures in the water. Okay, we fill 2, parallel fill 1, and it doesn't have to be at 1, and no underlay. Okay, that's the back part, and I would allow the fabric to give me the highlight. There's the end point. Wonderful. Then I would have done a second pass of the colour. Take out the underlay, don't want it. 2, parallel fill, I'm going to make this one 2. And then right in the front, where's the end point? There it is. Two, parallel fill, back to 1. 1, no underlay. Fill stitch. Thank you. Okay. And that's my 3 shades for my paddy field in the one colour. So you can use loose densities to build up a single colour. You use loose densities for shading or colour blending here, and loose densities for the sky. There's an enormous amount of white in this sky, even though it looks blue. And then we've got all the raindrops coming. Well, the raindrops wouldn't be a problem. Two. And we'll up that to 6. Parallel fill. One, 3, 5. There we go. Raindrops. What do I want you to do? I want you to choose a piece of scenery. Now be kind to yourselves. Pat up in Scotland, I know you're trying to sell your machine and your software, and you don't have a great deal of time, but you've got some fantastic views up there. You've got all the lochs, you've got the mountains. Anyways, you've got seascapes and skyscapes. And Merle in Australia, you've got some fantastic landscapes. Sue, you've got what I call the Bondo where you live. Sort of not quite desert, but not verdant grassland. And you've got your river, and you've got the mountains. I don't know what it's like up in Canada, and I don't know what it's like where Carol lives. I don't know what it's like where most of you live, but I'll bet you've got some fantastic views somewhere, and if you haven't got them outside your window, get your cameras out and go for a spin and take a photograph, and only select the parts that you really need. Doesn't have to be a highly detailed thing. I just want colour washes and form. Now I'm not asking you to do these. I am suggesting that you do, as I did, the blocks like this. Look at a shape. Squint. See the colours that are in there. For instance, I do see yellow ochre in here. I do see a warm grey, and I also see a blue haze. In the trees I saw turquoise and a very deep green. I knew I needed to pad it with another colour, so that's why I went for the dark grey. Here, as you've seen, I only needed one colour, just 3 different angles. Sorry, 3 different layers. A very loose density, the 0.86, and where the 3 meet, 0.43, and the raindrops. No problem. Very loose density. So that's my challenge. You choose the piece of scenery, you choose the colours, you colour wash it. You don't have to constantly use a single angle. Experiment with different angles in your sandwiches to see which gives you the best effect. Now, I do ask that you do experiment. You're not going to progress if you don't experiment. That's it. I'm finishing this video here, and I will have written up the challenge and set the time date on it. So I look forward to lots of fantastic colour wash scenes.